We live, we back and hitting you with the head crush New Gaming Order podcast. Thank you for joining us live. For those who are watching on twitch.com/slash New Gaming Order. Um, we are in segment number 2 for those who are watching on YouTube, and we're going straight through for our live audience. So, with that, we are going to go right back into the show production. And why did it do that? So bear with me. My chat layer is all effed up. Let me make sure this is good. But the topic that we're hitting up now, many of you know that I criticize PlayStation Now for the longest, right? So apparently Microsoft is trying to follow suit. So they're experimenting with a service that's going to rival PlayStation Now. And I think that it's their answer to try and work around the backwards compatibility limitations on the Xbox One or the struggles. So the news comes from cinemablend.com, and Microsoft is testing Xbox One, Xbox 360 game streaming, and could compete with PS Now. Now, I see benefits where if it will ensure 100% backwards compatibility from games that you already own. You know, the way that they can outdo Sony with this is not charging you for games that you already own. If I wanted to stream the Xbox Live games without having to put stores onto my system, you know, that's fine. You know, but the only reason why I criticize PlayStation Now is the fact that you cannot be grandfathered with the games that you already own. They should have given you a voucher to say, hey, I have this game, you know, let me stream this game for free. I physically own it, you know. So Sony caught up in their own arrogance as usual. But if Microsoft does do something similar to PlayStation Now for 360 games and possibly Xbox original games, could that work? You know, so with that being said, opening the floor with NGO Khalif, you know, what are your thoughts? Do you think that they can get away with that?
Well, I mean, just like you said, man, if they could get a leg up on Sony if they were to grandfather you in the games that you already own. But you know, we don't know if they're going to do that. But really, if they do, it would be great. But if they don't, like I said, you might as well stick with backwards compatibility. I honestly thought that was the whole point of backwards compatibility, so that they don't have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Unless they're doing some way to where you can be on, if they put it on TVs, or you know, if they just have it as an app, you know, where you can, you know, do it, you can stream on any device, any Windows device, then maybe that'll be cool. But I mean, as far as I was concerned, backwards compatibility is every way, shape, or form better.
Yeah.
PlayStation Now on the Xbox One, because it's not streaming. That's the whole thing. Once you start the streaming, that's when this shit gets kind of fuzzy. You know, and if they were to make it to, you know, where like they have now, backwards compatibility, it's all around better than streaming. So I honestly don't know what would be the point of doing this. Like I said, unless they were putting it on more devices to where they put Xbox games in more hands.
And you know what? You just hit the nail right on the head. I think that they're trying to, for those of us who have the disc, Phil Spencer said on that E3 stage when they announced backwards compatibility, if you have the game, it will eventually be backwards compatible. So you still have value in your game. But for new customers, trying to bring them into the fold, I think that's what the market is being tailored for. It's for that audience to get more people introduced to some of the franchises that ordinarily wouldn't have given it a chance, so to speak, since they're either already firmly established on PlayStation or PC. You know, but I mean that you made an excellent point there, and I think that's what they're trying to do. But let me give the floor to Playboy. What are your thoughts on Microsoft trying or testing with the Azure or their cloud computing? If they're going to start, you know, opening up Xbox games on a streaming level, you know, like Kasemi made a good point, on different devices, if I can use my 4K TV, and I already see PlayStation Now on my Samsung 4K, right? Microsoft can follow suit. What are your thoughts, Playboy?
Well, they have to go with the trend of technology. I mean, this is something that their competitors can beat them upside the head with because as streaming, Twitch, Hitbox, YouTube gaming gains in popularity, aka makes more money.
Yeah.
They're losing out on a potential revenue stream, and no business wants to do that. So, yeah, they need to get it together quick.
Okay, yeah, adapt or die, and that's something that Nintendo does not do because they be getting themselves bent over, like in Blood and Bone, Michael Jai White movie in the beginning of.
Oh shit! You had to say, "Oh my God, my Lord."
But you know what? I wanted to point out a couple of things. Earlier in the year, Microsoft also showcased how physics processing can be offloaded to the cloud. So, with that being said, I read that from this segment or this excerpt. It looks like, they're trying to really push this thing, but again, reliable internet and a constant connection will be required to use the full benefits of this. Number one. And Crackdown will be the first of many games to come that will, help boost, the Xbox One itself, and then just Windows in general. You know what I mean? Because if this Azure is supposed to be as big and bad as they say, the possibilities are limitless. Imagine limitless processing power and being able to stream stuff as opposed to going through the painstaking of making backwards compatible disc. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it remains to be seen. If done right, I think this will be a good thing. But let me get Shinraven, what are your thoughts on Microsoft considering test on this? Because there's something they're showing Halo 4 running in the cloud on various devices at a company level meeting. If they already have a proof of concept and Halo 4 already streaming at a company level thing, that means it's all but done. Your thoughts?
I mean, what's already been said, that's the only thing I think of right now. Absolutely, I would love to see a service where I can play my old games and everything like that. If there's a reasonable price, I'm one for it, If you already own the game and they can make it free, great. How are they going to prove that you own the physical copy, though? That's what I want to see happen. I don't know if that's possible.
Well, they've been doing
it. Provide
it.
The voucher.
Here's the thing: if you have the disc, here's
what's going to stop people going to like going to like a like a GameStop or whatnot, buying a bunch of games, registering it, and then returning it back. That's gonna eat them
your
in the
Xbox
ass.
Live account.
Yeah, because I know what it does now, where the games that I owned, I put them in and then downloaded it to the system, and then hey, you know what? It is what it is.
Has it? Okay.
And then once.
But what stops you or what stops me from borrowing said game, physical copy, putting into my Xbox or Xbox 360, and then proving that that's my copy?
Well, it's the DRM.
Even worse. What if it's something where like I bought a used copy and that key's already registered to another Xbox 360? I'm kind of screwed, Well, I'm not going to find. It's going to be hard for me to find a brand new unopened copy.
With that, it's like, okay, I believe this was answered many podcasts ago, but I'm trying to rack my brain with it. I know if you own the disc, or just like the Xbox Live Arcade games, it's tied to your account. So like if you run and like, okay, I want to play my Live Arcade game, you can play a portion of it, if you're logged on as somebody else. But once my profile is logged in to the system, then it'll give me access to it. So with the backwards compatibility, literally when you put the disc into the Xbox One, it downloads the Xbox One compatible version. You know what I mean? And then you don't really need the disc. But I'm pretty sure that there's there's some way that they check that there's like, okay, you know what? This serial number, whatever, is tied to this person's account or whatever.
From a friend.
Yeah. Right. Now, if you give it to a friend or something, I would think that they say, hey, you know what? You can play this game in trial mode, but if you want the full version, you have to purchase it. You know what I mean? Because now you can purchase 360 games on the X1 dashboard. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a way around it. You know, but you see, I usually have my notes with those types of questions, but we had answered that with I think Noop was on the show when we were talking about that. But that's a good question, you know. And those who are watching live and who will watch this on YouTube, leave your comments on what you think would be a proper workaround solution, because I'm sure hackers are going to find something to exploit that, you know. But with that being said, let me give Shin Takuma the floor.
One more thing also.
Okay.
Let me just get one more in.
Yeah, go ahead.
If it's not a topic that that hasn't been brought up yet, Xbox One servers. Will I be able to play Phantom Dust online again? If that be the case, that I can play that.
That is a good question. Good question. Good question. We all know it's no secret that the original X1 servers kind of went down, and you can't really play those games online anymore. But I'm sure if they have, with the demand, they probably could bring them back, because, you know, 360 games aren't going anywhere because of the backwards compatibility, you know. So when they were telling, you know, the rumors on Twitter, when they were saying Phil Spencer, oh yeah, they're gonna shut down 360 servers, how is that possible if you're still playing online games from 360 on the Xbox One? You defeated the purpose of backwards compatibility. So I'm sure that there should be a plan in place to provide support for those games, or something that a workaround with it. But hell, like Phantom Dust,
yeah,
man, I would definitely buy that again. I don't know where my disc is, but it was good stuff.
I still have my copy.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. All right, so Shin Takuma,
so I'll let you borrow it.
You know what? I might have to take my motorcycle out to your area and say, hey, you know what? Hell, I'll probably get home in like a couple hours with the speeds I go. But Takuma, Takuma, what are your thoughts on a possible rival to PlayStation Now with Microsoft? Do you think that's a good, bad, or ugly thing?
I think it would get them back into the games. So, you know, everybody's saying they're losing, and everybody's saying, oh, PS4s are master race, and that's whatnot. I think it would. I think it'd be a good move, but probably get back on a competitive level with the PS4. So if they do a backwards compatibility of the Xbox 360 games and everything else, I think it would bring a lot more attention back to their consoles.
Well, they still have a lot of work to do. You know what I mean?
I know it's a lot of work, but if they actually sat down and strategically did this, it would get them back into the game.
I would just say this: the one thing that they can do to outdo PlayStation Now, if you already own the game and you're streaming it, maybe have the disc in there while you're streaming it to make sure that it's properly being checked. You know what I mean? This way they can mitigate some of the concerns that Shinraven brought up, you know. But it remains to be seen. I want to play my Ninja Gaiden series from Itagaki, you know. Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden 2. You know, I got my disc sitting here. I'm waiting for the backwards compatibility. But with the way that Microsoft is rolling it out now, it's taking too long. You know what I'm saying? So this remains to be seen. But does that conclude your thoughts?
Yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
All right, Nelson, last but not least, what are your thoughts on Microsoft considering this avenue of approach to game streaming, backwards compatibility? Will it affect backwards compatibility, and what are some things that they could do to make sure that it's a success if they do it?
Well, one thing that I very strongly disagree is they should not do this streaming thing through a web browser as they intended to have. That's really stupid of them to do, and this is something that takes way more than a couple of gigs just to throw on the game at a regular speed. What I would recommend is that they continue their process of doing everything on the console first, make sure everything is at 100%, and then attempt to do the whole streaming thing for people who don't have none of these games or didn't purchase it or may never will, and they want to do a renting service. Then they can attempt to do a streaming version of it. But I would do something where, like the PlayStation did, where they had PS TV, where it's like a little tiny little box, and you can technically play your like your Vita games and
Vita.
your PlayStation 1 or even PlayStation 2 games on it while streaming on it. So you should be able to do the same thing with the Xbox. Like you should just do it like that. Don't do it through a web browser, because again, that's going to take up a lot of CPU usage. You will need a ridiculously strong computer just to play a fucking game.
Yeah.
And it would defeat the purpose of it going out for the casual consumer.
Okay.
So, it's like it's a 50-50 thing with me, but hopefully they just continue making the process easier on the Xbox One to have like hopefully 100% backwards compatibility, and even to the extent if they do bring back out original Xbox games, we want like online compatibility with the games as well, like Phantom Dust or classic Street Fighter. What you call it? I think it was called like Street Fighter Collections, where you had a Hyper Street Fighter 2 Third Strike on it. Samurai Shodown 5, SVC Chaos, Capcom vs SNK 2 EO, all that shit. I want to be able to relive all that. Otogi.
Yeah, oh my god, Otogi. My goodness. That the 1 and 2 freaking awesome, bro.
Yeah, it was a really strong game, so hopefully that can happen.
But you know what? Again, this is just like they're testing it, and it could remain in the limbo that as you guys were talking, I was reading the article, and there's a couple of hurdles that could be holding things up. Trademark licensing that held up GTA Vice City. A lot of things. Again, it's wishful thinking, but again, they made a good point in the Cinema Blend article that the drawbacks was the pricing. The pricing killed PS Now for me, because there was a lot of stuff that I would honestly I would be playing my PS4 more if I knew that the pricing wasn't just so like predatory, man. It just come on, Sony, you had a great idea, wonderful idea, but poorly executed. You know what I mean? And to justify, we have to maintain this, and that. If you fucking own it, don't charge for it again. Sorry.
Well, the whole purpose is that the reason why they made the PlayStation Now is for two reasons. One is to get casual consumers to pick up the console, or if you have any type of Sony product, whether it's a Sony TV, whether if it's a smart TV, because you have the same TV as I do. And if you look on it carefully, it offers the PlayStation.
I know. I was talking about that
on the television, and there's a lot of people that I know personally that have that streaming service, but for a year, that price is a little bit absurd. $200 and something a year to only have accessibility to maybe half of the catalog of PS3 and PS2. That's nothing. Like, give me the entire catalog, and I'll be like, okay, that's worth it.
Yeah. Because you have a library.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Think of it Netflix style. Like, okay, hey. And even Netflix is priced better, and you have access to more in terms of what they're trying to sell. But I just... but if that concludes, anybody has any alibis before we go into intermission? Yes.
I don't think they do, because Playboy left because he's going to Asia.
All right. And then shout out to Demizzle. He had to dip off during the first intermission, but I'm pretty sure when he sees this video, and I'll put that on free play mode so that his audience can actually weigh in on this. So going into intermission, make sure you rate, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Newgamingorder.com for the latest and greatest gaming news. And we will see you on the next segment. Shout out to Fullscreen, who is our partner. And, again, free play mode, New Gaming Order. Check us out. And shout out to Thumb Thrasher Gaming, which is also a spin-off of New Gaming Order. So, to Mr. Noop, we miss you, bro. We'll see you in a bit. Peace.